Hello guys, welcome. So I wanted to do a quick tutorial on Kubifaktorium for the modding side of things. So I've laid out a text document here, go through it. This is for a basic tutorial for someone who's never made one before, and this is going to be making a simple manual workshop just to have an idea of how to lay out your mod folder and get it all set up correctly to then work on other mods at a later date. We've got a few links in the description, and we've also got some locations for various folders and documentations. So the idea of this video is we're going to make this manual workshop together through the video. So what you're going to need is MagicaVoxel 0.98.2. This is an old version, but this version allows animations to be made. Later versions, they did not include it. The link is in the description below. And preferably Microsoft's Visual Studio Community, which is free. Note++ can work, as I've stated there, but not as good. I'm going to leave this on the screen as much as I can so you can pause it and have a little read through if you want, but I am going to go through it all. I might rush through a few things to try and shorten the video down so it doesn't feel like you're watching forever. But for now, yeah, so we're going to crack on with what we're going to do. So we're going to be making a manual workshop. So I've taken down a bit of detail here so I didn't have to think it all up off the top of my head. And we're going to make a rubble recycler. And the description will be place 2 rubble here, and the colonist will manually turn it into 1 mined rock, as rubble is something that's not used in the game, but is made when you crush metals, and it just goes to the garbage dump and takes time to recycle into nothing, disappear. So we're going to make use of this rubble and turn it back into mined rock so it can be used. And various other settings that I've got ready which we'll input. So as we are currently making a workshop, this will produce an item that's already in the game, the mined rock, so we will not be needing to make a second object. So the only thing we need to make is a workshop. This, I think, personally, is a good way to start. We'll craft something already in the game, but find a new or different way of making it. So we're going to go over the first time mod folder layout for anyone who's never made one before, and that's the main purpose of this video. So your folder location that you want to look at is your C drive users, your name, app data, local low, Mirko Studio, Kubifaktorium. Now I've got my mods wrote there. This may not exist, as I've stated. If it does, great. If it doesn't, you need to create it. So if we go to this location here, we will be here. So this is the folder. As you can see, there's your player log file if you have any problems, your settings, translation documentations and things like that. So there's the My Mods folder. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to create a new folder and name it My Mods. And there we go, we've got a mod folder created. The game will read from this. Now from here we need to create the structure of it, and I've done a little diagram here with a bit of explanation. Again, you can pause the video if you want to have a little read through. I shorten that a little bit here. Of course, you should be able to see. So first of all, we need a folder with your name and the mod name. So we'll create one here, and I'll put in Screech, and we'll call the mod recycle. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to copy this. This is important that it's exactly the same, letter for letter, higher case and lowercase. We're going to enter this, and we're going to start now with a simple little bit of copy and paste in so that you don't have to type out lots of code in and work everything out. So what I recommend you do is go back to, sorry, not in my mods, it's under the streaming assets folder, my apologies. The streaming assets folder can be found here at your C drive, program files, Steam, Steam apps, common, Kubifaktorium, Windows 64 data, streaming assets. And here you'll find a variety of different things. This is the main directory for the game and everything that's contained in the game. And here we can look at mods that were made by Mirko himself, the developer. And we can just grab any of these, open them up, you'll find a mod info XML folder or X file. We're going to copy this and we're going to paste it here. Okay. Then we're going to create a folder and call it objects. Folder will be where we put everything into, so that's where we'll make the actual workshop itself. The mod info, so if we open this up in Visual Studio, you'll see a lot of notes and other bits and bobs that were placed in here. I'll leave all this in here, but this is the important one. So if we was to try and write something now, all we get is CD data and a question mark, because right now this mod is not reading anything at all. We've got it set up here to read a schema under the location of info.xsd, but we don't have an info.xsd right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the streaming assets folder and get the original info.xsd. Again, we're going to copy and paste this here. And every time there is a patch for the game, you want to bring the latest version of this from this folder into your mod, or you can set all of your mods to read it directly from here. If you wanted to do so, you would highlight bar here, you would paste it there with a backslash. Green squiggly lines are gone. But for the sake of this purpose on the mod, what we're going to use is info.xsd. And the squiggly lines are gone. Now if we was to try it here, now we're reading everything from info.xsd. Make mods. Again. Okay, so with that in place, we can now start editing and adjusting to our liking. Now, as we said, we have the rubble recycle is the name, and here we need our mod name. We will input our mod name, rubble recycle. We have our version number, right now it's 0.1. We then input our mod name here and here. And this is the language that we've chosen, English. If you was to do a different language, then I recommend copying this and pasting it, and then input your language there. And then you would write this section and this section in French. Now we're going to stick with English, which is the first language of the game, and the rubble recycle, the mod rubble recycle in game will be displayed as, we will call it rubble mod. And this is a quick description here of what the mod does. So this adds a manual workshop that recycles rubble into mined rocks. Okay, as we said here, rubble manually turn into one mined rock. Okay, and then you can put your author, everything like that. If you want to put that in, you can put your email address in. You can also put your Discord. You could put email, role, Steam ID, etc. There's many different options. So we'll save this, and now the mod is going to appear inside the game. It won't do anything, but you'll have a name and a description. So now we need to create our workshop. We've got the structure set up, we've got the name, we've got the mod info, we've got the info folder, and now on to objects. So now this is where the first part of it is easy. We're going to go to streaming assets. We're going to go to object type. Here's everything in the game. We would like to make a workshop, and we'll just grab the basic workplace. We'll copy this and we'll paste it here. So now our mod would load the basic workplace. So we're going to rename the basic workplace to rubble recycler, and we're going to copy that. And in here, we're going to rename the PNG file. We're going to rename the voxel file, and we're going to rename the XML file. Now, the PNG file, you want to design your own little image and put it here. That's great. For now, I'm going to erase this the video, and we're going to enter the voxel file. And as you'll see up in here, there's 4 frames. Build frame 1, 2, 3, and complete. Okay, so I'm not going to edit this for the sake of the video, but you could start designing your own. What I will do then, just quickly, is remove the roof, these pillars, just so it's a little bit different from the original. Okay, and we'll get rid of this stool. There we go. And we'll save this. And we take a note of 1, 2, 3, 4 build frames in total till it's complete. And into the XML documentation. Now, InfoXSD is searching back 1, 2, 3 folders right now. And our InfoXSD is actually located 1, 2 folders away. So we need to remove this first section. So now it only goes back 2 folders. And the lines are gone, and we're reading the InfoXSD file again. So, on to combining all of our information into a workshop. So, I like to keep everything organized. So I'm going to highlight all this and hold Shift and Tab everything to the side. Tab once, and 1, 2, 3. Tap there, 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 2, 2, 2. And I find as long as your code is clean looking, a lot easier to read later. What I'm actually going to do is this section here, I'm going to remove all these recommendations. These are for if you want it to come up as you'll receive a reward once you've built the basic workplace, etc. And recommendation information there, that's another topic altogether. So this is all we need. I'm going to leave most of it. We're just going to go over some of the basics. So what we need to look at now is transferring everything over. So the name is the rubble recycler. The tier, description, size. So let's start off with the name. This name should match the name of your XML file. And we named it rubble recycler. The same for its description. Now this is the same as we done just now for the mod info. Except this time we're not editing the mod, we're editing the workshop. So this is the rubble recycler. And what does it do? This workshop recycles rubble into, simple as that. Up here we've got size, we're keeping it as 3. Tier, we set the tier here as 3, as rubble is not obtainable until tier 3. We'll leave the sound on select for now as the sound workshop. No, we won't. We'll delete that and keep it nice and basic and simple for now. All we need is our size, our tier, our information there in English, the category it comes under. It's going to be a workshop. The input spots, we'll leave them exactly as they are. The output spot exactly as they are because we've not changed the voxel. Settler interaction spots is where the colonists or settlers will go. So they will go to these coordinates, then this one, and then this one. The obstacle map is where they will avoid and where they'll walk, so they don't walk through it constantly. The warning flag position is located at these coordinates, which most of the time is X, Z, Y. Even though most information says X, Y, Z, they do actually come up as X, Z, and Y. Okay, and that's the same for these and these. Your model info, as we've seen 4 build frames, we've seen that in the voxel. And then the building recipe info is what is needed to craft. Now, I had it set to 2 logs and 2 mined rock, and log and mined rock is already here, so we'll add a 2 and a star to indicate 2 times. 2 and star. So, other things I wanted to add and just double check. So we've got workshop correct, we've got size correct, we've got tier correct, we've got the description. I could have just copied that if I wanted to, but yeah, okay, we'll do that. Otherwise it defeats the object of making all that first. And is it animated? No, there is no animations at all moving on the building workshop. Is there any tools required? No, so we haven't got to do that. The craft time and crafting ingredients. So you could put this on Mind Rock, the XML, or you could put it here. This workshop will be making it. So we'll start with this. And we want a workshop recipe info, because that's what it is. It's a workshop recipe. We will open this one up. We will put input. So what needs to go into the workshop? So we want 2 times rubble. Now rubble in the directory is called a crushed rock. And if you ever need to find that sort of thing out, you can always check here. If we was to go crushed rock and view the XML file, you'll see that even though the XML is called crushed rock, in the game it's called rubble, which is a little bit confusing, but we can access all this information, so it's not an issue at all. So 2 crushed rock is our input. Our output is what we'll receive afterwards, and we want to receive 1 mined rock. And then we need to look at the production time, which we had set here craft time as 10 seconds. And then you also need to indicate what workshop it has to be made at, because this code can be put anywhere. So the workshop is our rubble recycler. Place that there, and we'll save. And that is it. You have just created a rubble recycler workshop. And that is it, because, as I stated, we're going to be crafting something that's already in the game. Nothing else is needed. We now have a rubble recycler. So we're going to open Kubifaktorium up. It can be a little bit slow. So while we're waiting, let's have a little talk about, as I've wrote in the documentation over on the left-hand side, that every XML document requires this line of text for the version and encoding and the location of the info XSD. So we're going to go new campaign, start, and we're going to click the first island. And away we go, we're in. So right now we have nothing in our building menu. It requires 2 logs and 2 mined rocks. So if we was to take 1, 2, 1, 2, and we'll speed it up for the sake of the video, acquiring wooden logs has unlocked the rubble recycler. So it's under workshops, as we stated, category, and there's our rubble recycler. Place 2 times rubble here, and a colonist will manually turn it into 1 mined rock. It was built using 2 rock, 2 wooden log, no tool is required, and produced here is a rock. So, place it down. You could speed it up just for this. And here's your build frames, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we click on it, you'll see no output stockpile, but there's our rock. So we create a stockpile, we link it to the stockpile, and we're ready to go. 2 times rubble makes 1 rock. So we're going to press F8 to bring up our debug menu. And here, we're going to, well, we don't need to type it in because it's there. But if you wanted to look for something specific, as you can see, it's called rubble in brackets crushed rock. So it's easier for you to find it in the directory. If you didn't know where it was on here, you could type rub, and there it is. So we're going to spawn 2 of them into the game, and straight away, so he's now going to the 3 interaction spots, and he's dropped 2 items there, and here we go. We now have a rock, and it is as simple as that. In the matter of no time, that could be producing anything you want it to, quick as that. You could create more and more objects. If you wanted it to create something different, you would go here and you could type in Marmite, and you would just create an XML and a voxel file for Marmite, and then you would set your rubble recycler here where it says output there. You would type in Marmite, or if you wanted to make 2 Marmite, 3, 4, however many. But bear in mind, if you wanted to make 5 Marmite, you need to make sure your output spots, which are divided with a semicolon here. So right now it has 1 output, 2 output, and you want it to do 5, you would need 5 different coordinates. So this one here, we'll just make it the same a minute. Output 3, output 4, output 5. Okay, and that works the same with the input. Right now you can input 1, 2, 3, 4 different items. Okay, I'm not going to save that, and I will put it like that. If you wanted to add the thumbnail in here, you could add the thumbnail in. I'm just going to go over a quick couple of things left on here, but that's pretty much it for the mod. As I stated here, the 3rd line, which is this one here with the info, this is the location of your info XSD. Double dot on the dash indicates the folders. This current line says that info XSD is located 2 folders back from here, hence double dot dash twice. With this file linked, you can get live info on the code you type, which is read from the info XSD file. If at any time you want more information, you can locate the modinapi.html document, which is also located in streaming assets. And these streaming assets, you can see we have a modern API and a README first. And these 2 are great for if you're learning and want to get some information. This is the please read me file with general mod structure, creating objects, workshops, monsters, editing vox files with a link to MagicaVoxel, editing the XML files, creating localizations, map modifiers, dioramas, and the modern API file contains everything. This is updated every time there is a patch automatically. This contains everything that you see inside an XML file. It is basically a text HTML version of the info XSD. So this here, if you was to actually open it up and view it, contains thousands and thousands of lines. But this is everything you need to know. And because this is hard to read, ugly, and a nightmare to search through, we have this. So a quick example would be workshop recipe info. You would like to know what you're capable of doing with this. You could go here, Control and F, workshop recipe info. If you was to click it, so you need to call workshop recipe info, and then inside that you could use the name, input, output, probabilities, production time, replace existing recipe, required tool level, and workshops, with a small description of what they do, everything you need to know. So between this documentation and the README documentation located there and there, you've pretty much got everything going for you. I will look at making a second video soon, and we'll go into a little bit more depth now that we've gone over the mod structure and the layouts. And again, there's the document there. You're more than welcome to pause, screenshot, do as you need, so that you can keep track of this and you can go over it anytime you want. So thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to let me know if there's anything I missed out in the comments or if you have any questions. Other than that, enjoy, get modding, and make sure you create some good things. And don't forget to get them uploaded to the Steam Workshop, which we didn't go over, but I'm sure if you're interested in doing the modding and you've got the knowledge to cover that sort of simple bit of coding, that you'd be able to find and know how to upload your mod. But in case you don't, I will just quickly show you. Once you've loaded the game up and you're on the main menu, down in this section here, after the Access Steam Community While Playing disappears, is User Mods, and you'll see Rubble Recycle Mod. This adds a manual workshop that recycles rubble. This font here that you're reading is the mod info XML file. So whatever you choose to put in here, that's your title, and this section is your description. And then to upload this to Steam, you just click it, press submit, and away you go, you're done. So again, thank you very much, take care, and enjoy.